all the stimulus efforts of the last year, much as you'll see the limbs of a cardiac arrest patient jerking when they when they administer the electric shocks. It may just be a reflex reaction to the stimulus and not the beginnings of the recovery everyone's hoping for. So that is one risk there. Looking at Europe, of course, risks are legion. There are doubts about the stability of the euro, whether the euro can last through this crisis. But even if the euro does remain in place, clearly there will have to be a very severe adjustment in some European economies in order for them to regain their competitiveness. And worries that that will involve a steep fall in real incomes and a decline in demand, and that we will see at best very, very anemic growth across many of the European economies as they go through this period of painful adjustments. If they can't devalue their currencies, possibly one example is what happened in Hong Kong when the rest of Asia devalued in 1997 and 1998. Hong Kong was not able to devalue and so had to go through a very painful period of deflation, which saw property prices fall by 2/3 at one point and real incomes contract quite severely. There are fears now that some countries in Europe may be heading for a similar contraction. And then if we look at Asia, certainly one of the risks I worry about is the health of the Chinese economy. Of course, we see very, very strong growth, approaching 10%. Really, China appears to be on trend. But over the last year, that growth has been purchased with a truly enormous expansion of bank credit equal to almost to 30% of GDP. And there are concerns about whether that lending binge will really result in productive investments, whether much of the money has been frittered away. Clearly a lot of it has propelled an enormous surge in property prices. The government is now getting very concerned about that and attempting to clamp down, and there are worries that we have a property bubble, that we may have a banking crisis ahead of us as some of these loans turn bad, that with external demand depressed, the Chinese consumer will be unable to pick up the pace and drive growth, and that we may see as a result a really quite steep decline in trend growth rates in China over the next few years. An outlying risk maybe, but certainly one that as a doom-mongering journalist I do keep in mind. But anyway, that's probably enough for me. Just some risk thoughts to dwell on. But it's time now to invite up on stage our first panel, who will give us their views on the evolution of risk in the world. If we can have our panelists up on stage, please.